Scorpio, listen to me with the part of you that doesn't need proof to know the truth, because something major is moving toward you, and your spirit already feels it. You did not click on this video by accident. You were pulled here, like a document sliding across a table with your name already printed at the top. There is big legal news in your energetic field, and soon you'll be contacted about something far more important than the papers, signatures, or official stamps it carries. This isn't just about law, contracts, or policies. This is about justice catching up to your story, about divine order stepping into situations that once felt unfair, unfinished, or completely out of your hands. If you've felt a strange mix of nervousness and calm lately, like you're standing in a quiet hallway, knowing a door is about to open, this message is your confirmation. Something with legal weight, emotional release, and spiritual significance is approaching, and your name is already on it. Maybe you've had flashes of images you can't explain, emails, envelopes, an unknown number calling your phone, or a formal voice saying, "We're reaching out regarding..." Maybe you've dreamed of courtrooms, negotiations, or decisions being made in rooms you can't see, but somehow feel. Perhaps you've caught yourself thinking again about old agreements, past disputes, unresolved papers, inheritances, settlements, or long-forgotten applications that never seem to move forward. This is not random. Your intuition has been picking up on a shift in the unseen, a rearranging of pieces you didn't even know were still on the board. The universe doesn't shout at you with chaos. It nudges you with patterns, repeating numbers, familiar names resurfacing, unexpected reminders of old situations. All of this is your soul's way of saying, pay attention, something is coming full circle. Scorpio, you have walked through seasons where you felt like the system was bigger than your voice, where decisions were made about you, but not with you, where you had to accept an outcome that never quite felt like the full truth. Maybe you were denied support. Maybe documents got lost. Maybe you were promised something that never materialized. Maybe someone mishandled what was yours: money, property, opportunity, reputation, or even your peace. At some point you might have whispered, "It is what it is. There's nothing I can do." You buried it, moved forward, and built a life above unhealed ground. But energy doesn't forget. The universe keeps receipts that no human system can erase. And now those spiritual records are being aligned with real-world movement. A lawyer, representative, or official figure, someone whose work is tied to legal structures, contracts, claims, or administrative processes, will be guided to reach out, connect the dots, and bring something back into motion that once felt permanently frozen. This contact may not look dramatic at first glance. It might arrive as an email, a letter, a phone call, or a request to review something one more time. But underneath that simple format is the vibration of something huge: closure, correction, compensation, or confirmation. This doesn't mean you're in trouble. In fact, many of you are being contacted because something in the system needs to be corrected in your favor. Think of it as a divine audit. Situations involving shared resources, debts, settlements, legal rights, policies, or entitlements that were mishandled, delayed, or misunderstood are now being reviewed with fresh eyes. When spiritual timing syncs with earthly structure, it often looks like a case being reopened, a file being reassessed, or a decision being reversed or expanded in a way that finally reflects your true worth and your true story. You might feel a rush of emotions as this moment approaches: excitement, relief, anxiety, disbelief, all swirling together like a storm and sunrise at the same time. That's normal. Legal energy touches more than paper. It touches your sense of safety, your identity, your history. This is why you're being invited, not just to wait, but to prepare. Check old folders, review past emails, organize your documents, and pay attention to anything that suddenly comes to mind. If a memory of an old claim, contract, or unresolved matter keeps resurfacing, don't brush it aside. Sometimes your intuition highlights exactly what the universe is about to breathe on. This preparation is not about fear, it's about alignment. You're not trying to force something to happen, you're simply making room for what's already moving in your direction. When that energy activates around your legal matters, what's really happening isn't just about winning or losing, it's about exposing what was buried and rebalancing what was distorted. For some, this may involve money. For others, it may involve recognition, a formal acknowledgement, your name being cleared or an old wrong being made right in a way that allows your nervous system to finally exhale. You've spent years learning how to carry things alone, how to accept uncertainty as a constant companion. Yet there has always been a part of you that longed to hear, you were right, you were treated unfairly, you were owed more. You deserved better. The legal contact that approaches you may not say those exact words out loud, but the energy behind it will. It's a quiet form of vindication, a spiritual nod wrapped in human language. There is also something tender unfolding inside you as this legal shift approaches. You're being asked not only to expect justice, but to allow healing. Sometimes when we've been disappointed too many times, we become afraid of good news. We downplay it before it even arrives. We tell ourselves it probably won't be much, or they'll change their mind, or something will go wrong. Scorpio, this moment in your journey invites you to release that reflexive doubt. You're not being naive by hoping for a fair outcome. You're honoring the work your soul has done. Justice without inner readiness can feel overwhelming. That's why life is softening your heart first, calling you to gently believe, to let yourself imagine the possibility that something could unfold in your favor without a fight, without you having to beg, chase, or prove yourself again. As you move closer to this contact, you may notice that old emotions suddenly rise to the surface. Memories of being ignored, dismissed, treated as less than, or made to feel small in front of authority. Let those feelings move. Cry if you need to. Journal if it helps. Speak out loud what you never got to say in those moments. I deserve to be heard. I deserve to be treated fairly. I deserved better than what happened to me. This emotional clearing is just as important as any legal document. You are not only receiving news, you're reclaiming pieces of yourself that were left behind in rooms where your power was not respected. This time, you are meeting the new chapter with a stronger spine and a softer heart, a rare combination that is pure Scorpio mastery. You might see this legal development intersect with forgiveness. That doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior or letting people back into your life who are not safe for your peace. It means allowing yourself to step out of the role of the one who was wronged and into the role of the one who is free, who you may never receive the apology you deserve from certain people or systems, but this unfolding is not about them. It's about you finally being released from emotional, energetic, or financial ties that kept you locked in a story of injustice. The legal contact coming your way may be the final puzzle piece that allows you to say, I can let this go now. I can move on without feeling like something is unfinished. That feeling, more than any number or result, is your true prize. Practically speaking, when this person reaches out, whether they are a lawyer, advisor, accountant, officer, or another representative, pause, breathe, and let your intuition sit in the room with you. Ask questions. Take notes. Don't rush to agree to anything in a moment of shock or haste. You are allowed to say, "I'd like some time to review this." You are allowed to seek clarity. You're allowed to ask for support or professional advice if you need it. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. It's a guidance system. If something feels off, honor that. If something feels deeply right, even if it scares you a little, honor that too. You are not here to be a passive spectator to your own story. You are a co-creator of how this chapter lands in your body and in your life. In the days surrounding this shift, you may feel called to simple grounding rituals, lighting a candle and setting an intention for truth, placing your hand over your heart and saying, "What is meant for me will not be taken from me," or reading a verse, prayer, or affirmation that reminds you you're not walking through this alone. If faith language resonates with you, you might softly repeat, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," not as a superstition, but as a gentle anchor that reminds you that provision and protection can move through human channels, emails, calls, agreements, decisions, but the source behind them is always higher. If you don't connect with spiritual language, you can still breathe into a simple mantra like, "I trust that what belongs to me will find a just path back." What matters is not the words themselves, but the alignment they create in your nervous system. You may also notice that as this legal news approaches, other areas of your life start shifting too. Relationships may fall away or strengthen. New opportunities may surface. Old habits that tolerated unfairness may suddenly feel unbearable. This is all connected. When justice moves in one area, it often raises your standards everywhere. You begin to realize you were settling, not just in legal matters, but in love, in work, in friendships, in how you allow others to speak to you or about you. This season of legal contact is also a season of energetic recalibration. You are stepping into a timeline where you no longer normalize being underestimated. Your boundaries are not walls now. They are gates that only open to what is honest, respectful, and aligned. Scorpio, at the core of all of this is one truth. You were never invisible to the universe. The nights you cried about the unfairness of it all, the moments you felt crushed by bureaucracy, the times you walked out of an office or closed an email feeling small. None of that vanished into nothingness. Life recorded it as data, as prayer, as signal. And now, in a way that only looks legal on the surface, you are being answered. You'll be contacted soon about something major, but I want you to hear this clearly. You are not defined by that phone call, that letter, or that decision. You are already whole. This development is not arriving to complete you. It's arriving to reflect the strength and truth you've been carrying all along. As we come to the closing stretch of this message, let these words settle deeper than your mind, into your bones, your breath, your quiet knowing. You are worthy of resolution, you are worthy of fairness, and you are worthy of peace. What is meant for you does not need you to chase it in desperation. It needs you to meet it with readiness. So prepare gently, trust your intuition, take practical steps when nudged, and keep your heart open enough to recognize good news when it arrives, even if you're not used to it. If this message resonates with something inside you, you can anchor it by writing in the comments, "I am ready for justice and peace," not as a magic spell, but as a declaration of the vibration you're stepping into. And finally, Scorpio, let this be said softly but clearly, like a wise friend sitting beside you in the quiet. What you've heard in this message is a spiritual reflection, a story of energy, alignment, and possibility, not a promise of any specific legal outcome, not a guarantee that a lawyer will contact you in a particular way or time frame, and not a substitute for real-world legal, financial, or professional advice. This narrative is a mirror, a reflection of a potential timeline and a thought experiment for the soul, meant to awaken your intuition and give language to feelings you may have carried in silence. If it resonates, take what strengthens you: hope, clarity, courage, self-respect, and let those parts shape how you show up in your life. If it doesn't, let it pass by like a cloud on a windy day, knowing that not every story is meant for every soul. You are still the author of your choices, the guardian of your peace, and the one who ultimately decides how to navigate any legal or practical steps ahead. This message is here to remind you of your power, not replace it. And in that power, Scorpio, your next chapter is already unfolding.